Does anyone else remember the first time they went through the dark portal? You're standing there in blasted lands, excited as hell to finally see what's on the other side. And then you step through and immediately walk into an actual full-on war. Demons everywhere, soldiers fighting this massive red scar of Hellfire Peninsula. Dude, that first trip in Outland was insane. And I think that's what made the dark portal such a perfect way to start TBC. Blizzard could have just loaded this into some new zone and called it an expansion. But instead, you physically left the world of Azeroth that you spent hundreds of hours in. You walked out of the blasted lands, crossed that portal yourself, and then everything familiar was suddenly gone. Like everything you knew. That made Outland feel like an actual place you were traveling to, not just another place on the map. And the crazy part is, you had just spent 60 levels learning Azeroth, like that whole world itself. You knew what the dungeon zones looked like, you knew where the roads were, you knew where you were probably safe, you knew everything for the most part. Well, I wouldn't say everything, you knew a lot of things, right? Then Hellfire throws all that out the window entirely. You've got this shattered world floating in space. It's chaotic, right? Demons everywhere, and this giant Fell Reaver just wanting to kill you. And it does. It made you feel like a noob again, and I think that was the whole point of this new zone. And then TBC does something really smart, right? It doesn't let you feel comfortable for too long in this zone. You finally start getting used to Hellfire Peninsula. You're questing, you know, replacing old gear. You're having a good old time just bebopping around. And then this giant metal asshole starts stomping across the map. The Fell Reaver wasn't just a mob. It was basically TBC's way of reminding you that Outland could still absolutely wreck you. And then there was the gear. You'd spent all this time in Vanilla WoW, you know, finally getting gear you were proud of. I mean, you spent a lot of time. And Hellfire starts handing you random green quest rewards that are somehow better than like an actual, you know, raid gear you got. That was such a weird feeling and actually kind of frustrating. It was basically the game telling you, yeah, everything you did mattered, but you're in Outlands now, here's new gear. And that made the expansion feel like an actual reset, not just more of the same old stuff. And then you take that first flight deeper into this zone, Hellfire, and that's when, to me, it really sinks in how different this place is, right? You're flying over shattered land, like actual floating land, giant demons, broken fortresses, and Azeroth is nowhere in sight anymore. Like what you knew is gone. For the first time, WoW actually felt like it had opened up into something bigger than the world you already knew. That first trip through Outland wasn't just new content. It felt like you had actually gone somewhere different. And the best part of all this, you know, Hellfire wasn't even the payoff. It was basically TBC showing you this is just the beginning of this whole expansion. And it's like the best way to open it up. Because right after that, you hit Zangarmarsh, then Terracar, and then Nagrand, which Nagrand is like the best place in my opinion. And everyone in every zone looked different than the last. Like it was a whole new world basically. And that's what made going through the dark portal feel so huge. It wasn't just one new zone. It was the moment WoW suddenly felt bigger than Azeroth. And I think that's the part WoW has never really been able to recreate. Like they did it with Lich King in my opinion for a little bit. But you only get to leave Azeroth the first time once, right? Back then, Outland felt unknown. You didn't know the zones, the mobs, the gear, or what was waiting around every single corner. That mystery made everything harder. And once that feeling is gone, it's really hard for any expansion to give it back. And I think that's why going through the dark portal still sticks with so many people, even myself. It wasn't just the start of a new expansion. It was the first time WoW really made you feel like you were leaving everything you knew behind and stepping into something completely different. And honestly, I don't think that feeling has ever been quite the same since.